News sources regularly publish record prices for art. Many people wonder why anyone would pay so much money for art. How can any painting or pastel really be worth more than $100 million or 333 $300,000 homes? Why are wealthy people willing to take much more risk in their investments? Understanding marginal utility can help explain this and other aspects of money. Economists define utility as the satisfaction that people derive from the consumption of a good or service. Total utility is the total satisfaction from a good or service. Marginal utility is the satisfaction gained from consuming an additional quantity of that item. A util is a subjective unit of utility, a heuristic device that allows economists to talk about the degree of satisfaction for a good. More utils equals greater satisfaction. Marginal utility always declines for each successive quantity of consumption. If you like ice cream and you eat one scoop, the first scoop will provide the greatest satisfaction. If you eat another scoop, you'll probably enjoy that also, but the satisfaction will be less than for the first. More ice cream will increase your total satisfaction, depending on how hungry you are, but at some point you will not want any more ice cream. The marginal utility drops to zero and may even become negative. This illustrates the law of diminishing marginal utility. The law of diminishing marginal utility makes intuitive sense because we get full when we eat or drink, or we get bored doing the same thing over and over again. The greatest benefit is always provided by the first of any product or service. Marginal utility declines for everything, including money. Although many people want to amass great wealth, each dollar accumulated becomes worth less and less because the marginal utility of what it can buy declines. It is often said that money cannot buy happiness. Actually, it depends. If you are poor, then money will buy some happiness. Or maybe a better way to put it is that money can prevent a lot of unhappiness. If you do not have money for food, then you will be unhappy. If your car breaks down and you do not have the money to fix it, then you will be unhappy. If you need surgery and you do not have the money to pay for it, then you will be unhappy, or maybe even dead. That money can buy some happiness for the less wealthy is evinced by a 2010 study that showed that emotional well-being stops rising with income when a person is already earning at least $75,000 annually. Adjusting for inflation, that is $100,000 today. Marginal utility explains why people fear losses more than they desire gains. If you had $100,000 to invest in an investment opportunity that had a 50% chance of earning an additional $50,000 or a 50% chance of losing $50,000, would you invest? Probably not. Why? Think of the marginal utility of 3 units of $50,000. The first unit has maximum marginal utility. The second unit has less marginal utility than the first unit, but more than the third unit. Therefore, the marginal value of the money potentially lost exceeds the marginal value of the potential gain. Since, by definition, each has an equal probability, this would not be a good investment. Marginal utility also explains why the wealthy are willing to pay exorbitant prices for things that do not seem to be much better than ordinary items. Consider handbags. What is the main purpose of a handbag? To put your stuff in it so that you can easily carry it around. Sure, you also want it to be stylish. But don't all these handbags have those qualities? The handbags from Louis Vuitton cost almost 100 times more. Sure, the materials and craftsmanship are better, but are they 100 times better? You can buy both these handbags at their sale price, or you could buy a pretty nice house in most places in the country. For most people in the middle class, the house would obviously have much greater marginal utility. The reason why some people would pay even the undiscounted retail price is because a couple $100,000 is nothing to them. They have so much money they do not even know what to do with it, which is why they feel no qualms about being extravagant. More importantly, these expensive handbags provide status, which is how the wealthy measure themselves among themselves. But again, wealthy people can spend this money because they have so much money that even a couple $100,000 is no big deal. Why would someone pay $120 million for the Scream? Edvard Munch made 4 versions, so it is not even unique. True, the buyer hopes they will sell it for an even higher price later, but they're willing to take the risk because even if they lose money, the money has so little value for them that they fear little in losing it. They're not going to start eating dog food if their investment turns out to be a dud. They will still have plenty of money to live well. If they only had $120 million, they would never spend it all on a pastel that some would think a child drew. So money can buy happiness for the people who do not have it, because for them, money has the greatest marginal utility. It allows them to buy food, healthcare, and shelter, what they need to survive. Without these necessities, people would be very unhappy. The rich already have enough to survive, even to live well, so additional money has much less value for them. The rich want more time, because more time has a higher marginal utility than more money. So they are willing to spend more money to save time. The marginal utility of money should also be considered when setting tax policy. Taxing the poor means taking what little they have to pay for survival, making it more difficult for them to survive, which is why they often need government handouts, while higher taxes on the wealthy are much less burdensome. To summarize, the marginal utility of the additional money spent equals the additional marginal benefit of the purchase. The wealthy have a lot of money, so the marginal utility of that money is low. So they will spend a lot of money to get a small additional marginal benefit, even though such extravagance seems insane to many lower income people. For the same reason, investing money with low marginal utility also means that the investment has low risk for the risk taker, which is why many wealthy people take much greater risks than people who need their money to survive. Utility and marginal utility are often discussed without discussing costs. But everyone, even the extremely wealthy, must consider costs. Costs are often thought of in terms of money, but many economic decisions involve giving up other valuable things, such as time. Most people give up some money for time, since time is necessary to do anything. Many people consider time to be much more valuable. Opportunity cost is something that should be considered in every decision, since any decision involves giving up other opportunities, some of which may have more benefit. The key to maximizing happiness, or for a firm to maximize profits, is to get maximum benefits for minimal cost. Because each consumer's purchasing power is limited, this budget constraint, represented by a budget line, limits the choices consumers make. This analysis is simplified by assuming that the consumer spends all their money on two products, but this idea can be extended to every choice the consumer makes. For instance, suppose you have $12 to spend on cantaloupes and apples. Each cantaloupe costs $2 a piece and each apple costs $1 a piece. Then, according to your consumer budget line, represented in this chart, these are all the combinations of apples and cantaloupes you can buy. How consumer choice varies with marginal utility is sometimes depicted with indifference curves. Each point on an indifference curve represents a combination of products that yields the same total utility for the consumer. An indifference curve for this example would yield every combination of apples and cantaloupes that yield the same total utility. Indifference curves are convex to the origin because of the law of diminishing marginal utility. When there is a preponderance of cantaloupes, then the marginal utility of an additional cantaloupe is less than the marginal utility of an additional apple, and vice versa. A tangent line to an indifference curve represents the marginal rate of substitution of one product for the other that maintains total utility. An indifference map can be created by several indifference curves representing an increased budget for apples and cantaloupes that allows the consumer to buy more of each product for a greater total utility. When the consumer's budget line is superimposed on the indifference map, the point where the budget line is tangent to the highest in curve is the highest attainable total utility given the consumer's budget and represents the consumer's equilibrium position. To maximize your utility, you would first choose products or services that would yield the maximum satisfaction for your budget. You would only choose additional units of that product or service if the marginal utility per dollar for that additional unit exceeded or equaled the marginal utility of any other product or service that you could afford. This equality holds because if it were not equalized, you can increase your utility by spending less on the good that provided lower marginal utility per dollar and more on the good that provided a higher rate. Your satisfaction will be maximized when this equality holds true. Of course, this is an intuitive equation, since marginal utility cannot be quantified, but it makes intuitive sense. Let's examine a simplified decision between buying apples and cantaloupes. Let's assume that the apples and cantaloupes have these prices, and that you have $2 to spend. Let us further assume that they provide this many Utils of satisfaction. Then these are the possibilities. So you would naturally select the combination that provides the greatest satisfaction. If you have $4 to spend, then you have more possibilities. You will notice that the number of Utils for some selections is often greater than its cost. Economists refer to this as consumer surplus, the amount you would be willing to pay over the amount you actually pay. Of course, life is not as simple as the economists may lead you to believe. Utility and marginal utility are easier to apply when the decision is what to buy now. But you are not going to look at an apple and ask, how many Utils of satisfaction will this apple provide me? You will just decide whether you want to spend the money for an apple right now. All economic decisions are limited by time and place and by your limited knowledge. You can only consider the possibilities that you know of and what you are able to do given your time and budget. Many decisions are determined by habit. Many decisions are more complex. Sometimes utility must be considered over a lifetime. If you have $20,000, you could decide to go to Tahiti to bask in the sun with a tropical drink, or you could contribute to your retirement plan. Going to Tahiti would be a lot more fun, but contributing to your retirement plan would be more prudent. While the contribution will not be as exhilarating as going to Tahiti, you contribute in the hope that your life will be better later because you invested the money instead of paying for an experience that would be over in a week. While the marginal utility of going to Tahiti would provide more immediate satisfaction, contributing to your retirement plan would provide greater satisfaction in the future, when Tahiti would only be a memory. Or so you hope. Most of life's decisions involve guesstimates as to what you think will bring the greatest satisfaction in your life. While the concepts of utility and marginal utility cannot be applied rigorously, they do make intuitive sense. Thank you very much for your time. If you liked my video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. I would appreciate any suggestions, so please leave them in the comments below. Check out my website at thespanner.com for more than 850 in-depth fundamental tutorials on personal finance, investments, and economics. Check out my books on money at williamspalding.com. Thank you.